What's up, everybody? Welcome to the fourth episode of the Fully Pinned podcast. I'm your host, Josiah Maloof, and today our guest is none other than Shannon, Jansen, owner of All Mountain Sports. We had a ton of laughs. I absolutely love this episode. But just for a second, we're going to take a moment to shout out a few businesses that we love and endorse and use. So, of course, All Mountain Sports. Then you've got Bicorp, Purity Plant Protein, Crush Oz, Crush, Cleaning Products, Leat MTB, of course, Leat Protective Wear, and Spank Bikes. Love their gear. Another quick note, episodes 5, 6, and 7 are already filmed, and hopefully 8 is going to be done soon, so we are back on that train. But for now, episode 4 with Shannon Jansen, it's a go. Let's go.
You'd sort of leave in the morning and be home before the street lights were on was usually the rule.
Oh, go to the shops to get that $1 worth of hot chips, which seem like a freaking mountain.
When you're 10 and 12, you don't really know any
no
difference.
brakes, slick tyres.
Basically, I went, yeah, it was just me. There was nobody else in.
You're idiot.
The best stitch up.
Yeah, I don't know where my bottle is, but I want to show that the little plastic thing on the top disappeared. Yes, that thing. I know. But it's more so just the design as well. That was epic. Anyway, enough yarning about me munging my water bottle up. Welcome, everybody. Finally, we are sitting down with Shannon Jansen, the man behind... Look, I had to do it. It's utter cheese, but I had to rep it. The man behind All Mountain Sports and many other fantastic things. Thank you for joining us for episode 4.
Cheers, man. Thanks for having us.
Man, what would be the best way to start this off? I reckon give us a little bit of a backstory about you and bikes and how you fell into it, and you know, now you've got this business, you've got a big community of guys around you that you ride with. How did you come about and come into mountain bikes? Or even just riding in general?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, look, I guess I rode my whole life, right? Like even as a kid, used to get around everywhere you went was on a bike. You didn't catch trains or buses when I was a kid. It was always on your bike and off to the shops or wherever you were going. You'd sort of leave in the morning and be home before the street lights were on was usually the rule.
Oh, how good was the days there? I miss that stuff.
It's definitely changed, that's for sure. And then obviously as a sort of teenage years and stuff, I think like everybody mountain bikes started becoming a thing, and I played on dirt jumpers for sort of 5 or 10 years, and did a lot in that space, and sort of competed in a couple of local, like sort of really local sort of competitions and stuff. And I used to kick around with the guys at Action Cycles back in the day, and I was actually in the store, and one of them had this wild idea about that I should join them and do a 24-hour race, and that's probably where my I guess my love for mountain biking all really started, I guess.
From a marathon, basically, on a bicycle.
Yeah, it was it was an experience, mate. There's definitely a story behind how that all rolled out from that conversation in the store to what actually ended up happening on the day. But yeah, no, that's sort of how it all started for me anyway.
Yeah, dope. Oh man, isn't that funny? Like it's so. I mean, quite often I talk to people, or like I love backstories. I think, you know, everybody's story has worth. One of the reasons I started the podcast is, you know, it doesn't matter who you are. Like your story is valuable and it's important to someone. It's so cool hearing people's histories, but like people that rode bikes in the days where you could go out at sunup, you know, just after brekkie and come home. I'll put it like that, and come home at sundown. Like it come from that basis of fun. Like there's just so many things that a bike would allow you to do. You'd get places. You could be with your mates. You could take it off-road. You could get to transport through the bush. You could, you know, go to the movies, go to the shops to get that $1 worth of hot chips, which seem like a freaking mountain. Like there's, and then bikes got me in trouble as well, because bike took me to places that my mum told me not to go to. Like,
you had access, right? You're able to go exploring and go and find all new wonderful places. And yeah, no, it was was the way to get around, wasn't it?
100% it was. Where did you ride when you when you were a kid? Like, whereabouts did you grow up?
It was always around like sort of local sort of neighbourhood and stuff. But we also had access to I used to live quite close to the Quongbar Dam, so we had access all around the dam and the spillway, and there's sort of like
that's
scout
so
dens
cool.
and single track and stuff through there. So, you know, back pre-mountain bikes, we were riding all that stuff on BMXs and stuff, which in hindsight was pretty crazy. But when you're 10 and 12, you don't really know any
No
different.
brakes, slick tires.
It's basically how it went, yeah.
No, it's just another like relatable point. Like obviously I've got this injury that I've got, but all the things I've done, like it made me think about all the stuff that I did when I was a kid that was just insane. Like you're bombing, from the top of from Daisy Hill all the way to the bottom, like that hill on $100 bike. I don't know if it's going to hold together doing like 80, 90 Ks an hour in a helmet that I probably got from Kmart as well. You didn't think about that because you're just going so fast.
Mm-hmm.
Like just, such insane things that you really like jumping these bikes down staircases, like just trying to do anything that was fun just because, you could. And then reality sets in.
Well, now there's consequences now, right? You got to get up for work on Monday.
Yeah, pretty much it.
Yeah.
Pretty
You
much.
hurt yourself on the weekend. You missed a couple of days of school. I mean, that was a win, right?
Oh, mate, yeah, pretty much. I remember one day we'd been out for so long. I was pretty under the weather from not drinking enough water, but I couldn't be bothered walking anymore, so I laid down under my bike and pretend I was like dehydrated or something, and I guess someone pulled over and I literally got someone to pick up me and my mates and drive us like 2 Ks back to my house.
Jesus. Imagine if your kids did that now.
Oh, see, I'm like, yeah, nah, I couldn't. I'd be worried. I'd make sure Jude was a black belt before he's out doing stuff like that. So back to this 24-hour race and how it came about and how it worked out. Give us a lowdown on it. Because you're giggling a bit, and I want to know.
So there was a group of about 6 of us who used to sort of ride together, a couple of times a week, I guess. And I was in the bike store and picking up some parts, and they sort of said, "Oh, hey, have you thought about doing a sort of a marathon race?" And I went, "No idea what it is." And they'll sort of give me the rundown. They said, "Oh, we do 2 or 3 of these every year. It's a lot of fun. It's a 24-hour race. We all enter solo, so we can all ride together, and you sort of just ride as many laps as you can. And it's a great day out. We camp overnight." And I'm like, "All right, sign me up." So I organised a bike. I bought a secondhand XC bike, which was pretty confronting, coming off a 26-inch dirt jumper.
It would have been so weird.
Mate, first I got it. The first ride on it was my first time clipped in. Was at the top of Cootha, next to Channel 7, and they're like, "Go, just follow us in." So yeah, first day ever clipped in on an XC bike. It was an experience and a half. Learning how to use gears and be clipped in all in the one go was that was an experience. And
you would have been proper frightened at times, not knowing what was going on with that bike.
It was nuts, but it's probably the best thing, right? Like I've ridden clipped in ever since, and you learn how to get out very quickly. So there was 5 of us that entered into this race. It was about 3 months out, so we started doing a bit of training and stuff, and then as we started getting closer, people started dropping off. Like one of the guys was injured, one of the guys had an engagement party on, and anyway, a week of the race, it was just me. There was nobody else in.
You're kidding.
The best stitch up. So I was at Canungra back in the days, sort of hinterland of the Gold Coast there, and
yeah, I know where it is.
Yeah, so I've loaded the car up. I've got my bike. I've got one of the guys from the store. I nabbed his hardtail as a spare bike in case I did some damage to mine, and I went out there, and a couple of the guys were coming out later that day, sort of helped me out as I was sort of riding through the night and stuff. And it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible.
riding 24 hours straight through the night and sleeping sporadically and probably not eating that well. Oh wow.
Mate, I look back on it, I knew so little. Like there was no nutrition wasn't a thing. Like you were drinking straight water. There was no hydrolytes. I wasn't using
Salt,
gels.
no
I
nothing.
just
Yeah.
have a bite of something when I got back to the checkpoint and then keep going. But it was yeah, it was one of those like I have so many memories of that race. It was just
Did
one
you
of those
cramp
races.
at all? Did you
Oh,
like cramp
mate,
up? Like
everything you could think of
multiple
happened in that race, mate. It was I broke on the second or the third lap. I broke a cleat off my shoe and it got stuck in the pedal. I was sort
Oh
of like
my gosh.
it was 4 kilometers in. So I was sort of pedaling back, 1 foot on, 1 foot sort of loosely attached. There was like a long grass, like a waist height grass climb. There was a soft sand climb on this thing. It was horrible. There was at 2 a.m. there was a thunderstorm. I got hit with hail. Everything you could think of that could go right or wrong in a race happened. It was nuts, man. I've never been so
Humbled.
so exposed, so broken. But it's awesome. Like it's one of those things that it's not physical, it's all mental. Yes, you've got to be able to pedal, but the mind gives in before the body does, long before. And the amount that I learned, even just about yourself in that race, was something I'm grateful for. And it's the same reason I still do 24s now when I get the chance. Not because I'm going to go out there and set a blistering time or even ride for the full 24 hours, but it just strips everything back. It's just all the bullshit disappears. It's just you and you're alone at 2 a.m. in the dark on your own. There's nowhere to go, right? It's just it's just a different experience.
Man, as heinous as that sounds, probably because of the situation, how you went into that situation, I kind of thought you might steer it in that direction, because I actually said to someone the other day, out of all the sports that I've done, things that I've done, skating, whatever it is, like, rep level basketball, blah, 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 running, I'll bring it back, but running was the hardest thing, like trying to get, sub a particular time, like 5Ks under a particular time, and keeping that pace. I was like, I know my body can do this, but because it's so hard, my brain is just like, yeah, nah. It wants to be like, you asshole, stop. I don't want you to keep doing this to me. And I imagine it would have been like a similar thing. There would have been points, that sand climb, 2 a.m., getting punched in the face with hail that you.
Oh, I remember I got back from one lap at like, it was maybe 4 a.m. or something, and a good friend of mine, Mick, who was the guy that ran the bike store, he was there and sort of kept my bike running because I was falling off left, right, and center and breaking stuff as you did on early model mountain bikes. And I remember I came back in, and I was just literally I was just crying, not for no reason, just like literally tears running down. He's like, not even in pain. I just said to myself, I'm done. Like I'm so broken. It was nuts. He's like, cool, your bike's ready, off you go.
Yeah,
and,
cool.
Literally like just slaps me on the ass and pushed me out the tent. And it was awesome. Like, that was the next lap was the sun up lap, and everything just disappears, all the pain, all the problems go away, and you're out there, and it's just an awesome time to be on the trail. So it was it was awesome, man. Anybody that's ever thought about doing that sort of a thing, it doesn't matter if it's 6 hours, 12 hours, 2 hours, anything that pushes you past where you would normally go and takes you to that dark place is there's so much to be learned there.
I agree. I very much agree. I've had times mid prep for a powerlifting comp where I was studying pretty much full time. Dad, my father. Oh, this is like pretty gruesome, but like my father was, unwell with pancreatic cancer. I committed to this prep for this comp, and it was a comp that I could possibly do quite well in, and it was one of those things. You'd finish up visiting Dad, you'd be squatting at like 11 at night, and I was like, you put your back, your first set, you rack out, and you're just like, I can't be bothered. At 1:30 at night, when I finished that workout, I can't tell you or in the morning, I can't tell you how good I slept.
Yeah, it's doing the work when no one's looking. That's what it's all about, isn't it?
I'm gonna look. I don't know when, but stories like that and seeing how that filthy Mexican rod,
You mean slippery?
Oh man, that mustache is so bad, but so good. And just hearing, I don't know. I definitely want to push myself to that level of hurt one day. Like, I don't know when, but I'll definitely do one day for sure.
Yeah, so I don't think it's really different. It's not Mitch obviously came out this year and did a couple of laps as well, and he was quite surprised. He's like, he goes, I thought it'd be a really intense sort of racing format, and he said it's the opposite. Everyone's sort of out there encouraging each other. Like he said, it's an amazing atmosphere, and it's one of those things, right? If you just want to see what you can do, that's what it's all about. If you ride for 6 hours, or you ride for 2 laps, it doesn't matter. Just about being out there having fun, really.
So do they have do you have to ride the whole 24 hours, or is it just...
Nah, come and go as you please. So you sort of you set up along pit lane. So pit line's like a big S, and there's obviously tents and gazebos along pit lane, and you just have access to the trail. It's part of the track. So you could do 1 lap every 5 hours. You could go continuously. It's really it's up to you to ride as much or as little as you want in that period. So obviously the elite guys that are sort of winning the race aren't getting off their bike. They're going the full time, but very the average punters, they might ride for 10 hours out of the 24 or something like that. So it's sort of it suits all fitness levels, really.
Yeah, it's definitely something I'll give it a go one day. Get this whole thing sorted out, and we'll get there. What was your first bike?
The first one I can remember was a Redline 340. It was I got it from my cousin. So all my family's a lot older, and that's sort of the first bike I can remember. Other bikes, was the first one I could probably name, and I had that for years.
Man, was that Redline? It would have been a BMX, eh?
Yeah, it's a 20-inch BMX back in the day when they were all chrome and everything was all shiny and blinged out and all that sort of jazz.
So sick. It'd be one of those things you'd
very retro now.
Yeah. You'd be one of those things though you'd see in an ad, and like you'd see it in like March or whatever it was, and it would stick in your mind and be like, "That's the bike I want for Christmas."
Yeah.
Yes. I want this bike.
It's probably a similar era when you had all the, obviously the GTs and the Mongooses running around on the big tough wheels and stuff like that. There's the plastic things. It's all that same era.
Mongoose was the thing, man. Oh, I just remember whenever I was at the skate park, anyone had a Mongoose, whether it was, whatever it was, like attention was paid to that person.
Definitely cool bikes in the time, weren't they?
Yeah, 100%. No, but when you think about it though, like what people were doing on bikes then compared to how capable the bikes are now, like it's pretty nut.
Yeah, I mean, I can remember you can sort of remember going to the local jumps or whatever, and you're like, "Ooh, did I tighten my handlebars?" And today it's like, "Oh, I won't go on the trail if my suspension's not tuned perfectly and my hydraulic brakes are squeak free and all the bells and whistles."
Yes. What's up? Sorry.
No, you're all good, man.
I love you. Bye. Okay, sorry. Imagine speaking so nicely to someone and they scream in your face. I love you. Good night. That's so funny. I had a conversation with someone this afternoon around like tire usage, and like people have preferences, and you can like whatever you like, but pretty much any top tire is gonna work. Like, and the selection back then, like for tires compared to what we have now, you know what I mean? Like people just used what they had, and now there's so much of everything that it's almost too much, and it becomes so much about the bike and not really about riding the bike. And I'm not saying it's wrong. It's wrong to have nice things and, you know, have, you know, your dream build or like, you know, all the kit that you like, but it seems like people can get very hung up on the bike and forget about the riding.
Depends on what they're in for it too, though. Not everyone's in it to ride. Some people have got it because they like to tinker. Some people it's just about having a bike that takes them back to their childhood, I guess. It's not always about the riding for everybody, I guess. But I mean, you're right. There's at the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether you're on a Maxxis, a Pirelli, a Michelin, a Continental. I mean, when you start talking that they've all got their pros and the cons, but you're not going to have a bad tire. There's going to be ones that are better for other things, but you're not going to ever be on a bad tire.
You know,
it's not like I can remember we used to put tires on you, and you know sometimes you get unlucky to be 5 kilometers into a ride, and there'd be a big tennis ball egg hanging out the side of it because they just weren't well made.
Oh my gosh, what a memory!
You don't have that anymore.
It's so weird. Oh my gosh, I distinctively remember this banana seat bike that we used to.
Dragsters.
yeah, like you know the hangers and stuff. Oh my gosh, because my nana, God bless her, my nana never threw. She's a major hoarder, and she never threw out any of the bikes that like my mum and her brothers rode. And whenever because we used to live in Sydney, whenever we moved up, there was always an amplitude of bikes to ride, but my favorite was the banana seat bike because you could sit back because it had the thing,
the hangers
back, and steer the bike with your feet when you were hooking down the hill. And you think about that, you're just like, if you came off, you were cooked. But like you actually got so good at it because you just did this random stuff on a bike all the time. I don't think I just remember trying to jump that thing one day, obviously not paying attention because there was just this big divot in one of the walkways down at the beach near my nana's house. Sending this thing, getting home and seeing that egg in the sidewall of the tire. It's just like, and you don't know what it is. You've never fixed a bike before in your life because your mum always takes it to the local.
Yep.
And you look, or your mum or your dad or whatever, like takes it to the local. You look at it and you're like, oh, that can't be good. Like, you wouldn't see that this day with the TPI on the outside and then this on the inside and in that case. And yeah.
No, it's come a long way.
Oh, 100% it has. Side note, did you see the Foes bike that Fisho rode with the Formula?
I did. How good's that with all the Ingrid components and the Formula forks and stuff on it?
Oh man, I actually forgot to ask him how the forks were because I actually hadn't heard of it until you told me about the brand. But he said that he loved all the Ingrid stuff, but he said the bike was an absolute dream to ride.
Yeah, right. I actually had some Ingrid cranks here the other day for somebody, and mate, the attention to detail on the CNC machining on it's beautiful. It's God they make nice gear. There's no doubt.
Yeah, I'd love to see. Yeah, he said the rear mech, like the jockey wheels in the rear mech, it's got like a solid piece and it actually spins on a ball bearing instead of an axle.
Yep, it's pretty cool, hey.
I was like, that's
the other crazy thing is that same derailleur moves across. That's not limited to just a 12-speed mountain bike. You can change the jockey wheels and the hanger. It's not the hanger, sorry, and the cage, and go to a 9-speed road bike. It's pretty crazy how they've come about making that thing, hey.
So you can piece that derailleur apart to build it out for any bike, basically.
Yeah, correct. So the derailleur body is universal across the range, and it's just the cage and the jockey wheels that change depending on if you're on 12-speed mountain bike, 11-speed road bike, or anything in between. So you could essentially take it to different bikes and the likes. It's a pretty cool idea.
Pretty wild.
Mm.
How I guess we should touch on the old AMS. How did it come about? Give people the lowdown. I know, a small taking of this story, but give people load on how AMS came about. Because obviously you've been riding bikes whole life, sending BMXs down single track in the local dam, and now we're here. Yeah, wild, eh? Kicking it up on the banana seat bike down hills you probably shouldn't be riding on anything. But how did you? Was it something you were like, I want to have a mountain bike orientated thing, or did you see an opportunity? How did it come about?
Look, it's a little of both. So I'd been on the hunt so I've had a few businesses in my time, and I hadn't had one for a few years, and I've been on the hunt for something essentially online based, and more for the reason that that's sort of what my wife does, right? So she works in an e-commerce space, and she builds businesses and social media followings and stuff for all these people, but doesn't really appreciate how good she is at what she does. And so I'd sort of been on the lookout for something and sort of went, what can I get my hands on that I know enough about to help, that can sort of hopefully
and merge the two. Yeah,
and sort of at the same time sort of help her realize what she does is actually pretty incredible. So that was the first sort of things. I've been on the hunt for a little while, and been playing with bikes on and off, but increasingly a lot over the last sort of 3 or 4 years. Obviously, Rod and I started riding a lot together, and I had a couple of mates that had bought bikes from reputable sort of local bike shops here in Queensland, and the gear they'd been sold and the bike was just such a mismatch for what they were going to do. One of them was sold a bloody cross country bike, and he's 6'8", 120 kilos, and wants to go ride boomers. I'm like, so I sort of seen that there's this, it had changed from, in my mind, what local bike stores used to be about. It sort of shifted to being more around just push product out the door, which is a shame, I think. And then at the same time, All Mountain Sports came up for sale. So it was started by a gentleman named Blair down in Nowra, and it popped up for sale. So Blair and I started talking, and then sort of a couple of weeks later, we did a deal.
Oh, good.
So I actually think Blair might be Jake's next door neighbor, believe it or not.
Hang on. Oh, wow. Wait, Jake, like our Jake,
Yeah,
Jake Whitten.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they live next door or on the same street or something. So they're, I think those guys ride together on occasion. So.
Do they know this?
Well, I believe so. I think they're friends.
Yeah, that's so like.
I don't think I'm dropping knowledge.
Yeah. Can you imagine Jake listens to that and be like, they go for a ride and be like, bro, I didn't.
No, I think they all sort of, I think, Ultimate Cycles now is they're sort of local, and I think they all sort of mingle in through there. So.
Yeah. Do you have anything to do? I know you sponsor the Cycle Traders crew, but do you working with them? Do you have any other teams outside of the ambassador program that you guys work with?
No, it's only the ambassador program for us this year, and then obviously the Trails View team has they got a team of 10, which is a pretty big outfit. But that was sort of it. Obviously, being our first year, we still wanted to get an idea of what was going to work, what wasn't, and the like. So it was actually a bit more. We weren't sort of planning on jumping on board with Matt at Trail View Cycles, but thought it was a really good idea what he was doing and what he was creating. So I thought it was a good chance to sort of be a part of it, I guess.
Yeah, cool. I guess that, it makes me think about like that conversation we had on the phone when I was stuck in the storm at the train station, when we got to literally like hailing and so wild, and I still had to ride so far like from there after I got there. But I just remember you saying like it doesn't necessarily have to, bring about oodles of cash. Like we're looking to build relationships and friendships with people that help impact others in this mountain bike community. you know, if we can do something with this that can help others or, you know, impact others, then that's the main focus. You know, I kind of, you know, come from like, hey, your mate got sold an XC bike and he's a huge unit. You know, what can I do to help this guy out? You know, have a positive experience, you know, uplift someone's day. Is that kind of, you know, what you wanted, and like, how do you see it moving forward from there?
Yeah, it was. Look, you're on the money. It wasn't about starting a business and then you know, growing this thing into some sort of monstrosity like one of the other big online
Yeah.
stores. But I guess the plan for us is sort of going, how do we? I genuinely think the local bike store is, you know, it's a dying breed. There's a couple around that are really good, and I think we all as a community need to do our bit and support them. But I think that landscape's gone from what we knew of it. I think that's going to change, and for me, I think it's about how do we retain the good that used to be a part of the local bike store, the camaraderie, the community, the exposure to things, while we're going to be forced to work in this digital world. To me, that's what it's about, right? It's about bringing back that fun you used to get from hanging out at your local bike store. I can't tell you how we're going to go about doing that because I'm still trying to work that out. But I think to me that's what it's all about. Yeah, I haven't worked out yet. I honestly don't know how to achieve that, but to build that community, that camaraderie, it's almost taking a solo sport, making it a sort of team environment. Yeah, that's to me that's the ultimate goal for it.
I think you'll find over time, like a lot of that, the ideas that you want will kind of naturally evolve themselves, because it seems like opportunities that have come your way because of the way you've chosen to hold yourself and do business. You know, Trailsview came up and you met a person that, you know, had a similar interest in what they wanted to achieve, you know, with people. You're like, oh, boom, let's make this happen. So it seems like to me, like the growth is very, look, I hate using this term because the growth is very organic, and but when it's organic, it's effective. Because when
it's not pushed, it's not forced. It's organic's probably the right word for it. Whether I know it's exactly. It's a very flogged term at the moment, but but that's I mean that's what it's about, right? Like it's you don't want it to be another one of these brands that are sort of forced upon you every time you open Facebook or Instagram or the likes. You know, you almost want it to be like that that local restaurant that all the locals know about, but you know isn't publicised in the for the masses. I guess that's sort of how I sort of envision it.
I like that. It kind of makes me think of how I mentioned it to you. Oh no. Like a week ago, whatever it was, but how I found it, I don't even know. Like, obviously, I have been and will continue to consume ridiculous amounts of mountain biking content on the daily. But and
nobody floods my inbox with mountain bike videos like you, I can tell you.
Oh, hey! Look, you got to know what's happening. Someone has to tell you.
Look, this guy in clips, he fell off again. Oh, look.
Look at this guy in flats, just doing whatever he wants.
I fell off today. I was sitting down and funnily enough, I was already unclipped. I was sitting there, I'm like, I bet you just I'd be banging on now. But going, if you're in flats, it wouldn't have happened.
100%. I can promise you. I'll just get the phone out. Like, just tell the people. Do you write clips? Now, look, in saying that, I will try them. I will try them one day because there is benefits, and I am 100% about upskilling. But for now, I am well happy. But yeah, it reminds me. Huh?
Mate, clips and clipless are. I mean, it just comes back to what you've grown up on. You get to a point in life where if you've been riding it that long, it's almost impossible to go the other way.
Yeah, I get it. Well, it's like this, like all the bikes I've ridden. I've actually never tried it. I will try it one day. But that view you have of being that local like restaurant, it's kind of like, I don't even know how I found you guys on Instagram, but when I did find it, like whether it was Explore page, because you guys, I never got hit with an ad. Like, I feel like I have nightmares about bicycles online ads. Like,
definitely a few. There's definitely a few of them out there. It doesn't matter where you turn. There's an advert for them.
oh, 100%. God bless them. But like, I just remember finding, Judah, I'm doing a podcast, Bubs.
What?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
What do I mean?
Why do you want a podcast?
Okay. Bye-bye. You can say hello for us. Oh, what is happening in my ear? Say hello, Judah.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
All right, off you go.
Let me have one.
I can only see. I can't see. I can only see your little JM circle on the screen. So.
Oh, what? I hope I haven't recorded this whole thing with my camera off.
I haven't seen you pop up on the screen yet. So.
Shannon raised their hand.
Allow incoming video. Yeah. No, oh, there he is. He's back.
Oh
I
my
can't see you.
gosh. So the whole time you've just been looking at JM.
Yeah, I've just been looking at his white screen.
I'm so gonna change the background at one stage.
All the shoes. Have you got enough?
Huh?
Are you still like? Are you like? I'm just wondering. I'm just picturing. You know how there's that stereotypical sort of thing when you go out for dinner and your wife says she'll be ready in 10 minutes and then 20 minutes later you're still waiting, right? I imagine your wife being like that with you while you're trying to pick your pair of shoes to go out in.
When I first got into it, the first year, I can't believe it's been off the whole time. Should have told me. The first year when it's been, I don't know, so long now. It was like that, but then if I knew we had a date night or an event where I needed a fit, an outfit, I would pick the shoes before that night.
Wow.
Yeah, so I have to, because otherwise I'll come here and stand and look at that, and I'm proper like, yeah, it's not.
I think you have more shoes than I've actually owned in my life, if I'm being honest.
100%. I would than literally everyone in the group chat, like everyone we probably know collectively, like it's it's pretty gnarly. Johnny's like, why don't you sell them and get more bikes? And I was just like, if I sell them, I'll have to buy things for the house, not more bikes, Johnny. So I'd rather leave them there.
I guess the following question, right, is if you picked out your shoes, the real question, and I think the viewers want to know this, is does the scrunchie have to match the shoes?
Yes.
I'm seeing blue shoes and a blue scrunchie right now. So is that like a matched duo when you go out, or how does that work?
If I have a coloured scrunchie, generally there's some part of my outfit that matches to it. There is not one time you will see me in mismatched clothing color-wise. It doesn't happen.
Jesus.
I don't know, like, I don't know what it is or why I am the way that I am, but or sometimes I'll pick the hat and shoes, and then if I'm wearing a hat, sometimes I get the mane out. But yeah, it's Logan was here a little while ago. I know, like a month ago, and can't remember what he come over for. But he's like, wait, so this isn't shoes you sell, this is your personal collection. I'm like, yeah. I was like, I can tell you every single pair, no matter what you pull out, has a story, and I can tell you the story of each of them and that time in my life.
So what's the long-term plan? I mean, there's enough shoes there for you to wear one a week for 2 or 3 years. Like, what's the?
I just
or?
Nah, I don't have any duplicates. Oh,
Jesus.
nah, I don't. I don't know. I'm a huge fan of Air Force Ones. Like this whole row, that's all Air Force Ones, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 32. So behind that is another row of boxes. Like that's all double sided. When I grew up, my father was in the rag trade, and they owned like a super. Unfortunately, before my uncle did some dodgy stuff and sent the business down the drain for everybody, my father and uncle had a very successful denim and fashion label back in the late 80s, early 90s, and ran multiple businesses and through the rag trade. So growing up, like we always were in, I was very blessed to have like a real solid upbringing financially. Like we didn't go without or anything like that. But in regards to the clothes we weren't wearing Kmart. We wore the stuff that Dad bought home or designed. And I think when I grew up, I don't know what it was. Like I remember my first pair of Air Max in high school. And then when I got my own money, and it was just like, I can't explain it. It's like why I can't explain I like everything so plain on my bike.
Isn't anybody that wants everything black all the things?
I don't know. It just looks, actually, whatever that weird thing is, it just likes how like gnarly the black looks to me. Is the same part of me. I told her I wanted an orc tattooed on me one day.
An orc? What the hell's an orc?
Lord of the Rings?
Okay. I've seen the movie. I've seen the movie. I can't really picture the creature, but yep.
Or a gargoyle. I know. I love metal, so I just like things that look metal. It's probably just a weird like alternative music enthusiast thing. We wear a lot of black. I get it. But I don't always wear black. As much as you think I probably do, I don't always wear black.
Fair enough. You gotta push the boundary sometimes.
Yeah. I know. But yeah, I could yap about the kicks for a while. But yeah, it's just one of those things. Like, I very much feel if I didn't get off the bike when I was how old was I when I ditched my last mountain bike? It's almost like a 20-year gap before I started riding again. I just don't know why. But now it feels like I'm in the exact same place. And I wish I never missed that gap. Like I've always had the shoes and I've collected this up over so much time. But now it feels like I'm living my childhood again. And it's
back to playing with bikes.
back to Planet Bikes. Oh, don't worry. I still, I'm still very much involved with that like community. And I've got a lot of good friends in that thing, but I don't know if my story with mountain bikes would have worked out another way. That was just the cards. That's just the way it is. And I'm still, young. I'm still, fit. I still got plenty to learn. It makes me, I know telling stories like that makes you think about the origins of things, and I'm like, man, it makes me stoked to be doing something again that makes me feel childish. Like I don't know how else to put it. Like when you're with your mates riding a bike, everyone's having a hoot. Everyone bins it. Hopefully, have a couple of people bin it. Not too seriously. Have a laugh.
You got to ride with different people, man. Falling off's not part of the sport.
Yeah.
It's not the objective.
Hang on. What did you do before you got in this call this afternoon? What did you do?
I went out for a ride with a mate.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Bit worse for wear though, eh?
May have come off a log drop, not so well.
Speaking of that, Dan, before I knew this was a thing, this is like how like eager Beaver was. Rain and logs, right? Before I knew that wet timber in the forest, I was like, I need to say this correctly, or someone's going to make a terrible joke out of it later when they hear it.
There's a dick joke in there for sure.
100% there is. Wet wood. Look, I was going to say wet wood. But
Johnny would be all over this right now.
yes, he would be, and he will be. I literally went onto this thing, and I took, instead of just riding it out, because I had enough speed, I initiated a crank, and the whole thing just poo shooted like a guy that's never ridden a skateboard before, out from under me. I went straight onto my gooch on this thing. And Dan had tears in his eyes. I couldn't get up because I smacked my back so hard, like I winded myself. But I was also laughing, but because I couldn't breathe, because I winded myself and I was laughing, I couldn't get a breath in, and my crack hurt so much. I was like, I literally don't think I tried another log ride for like 6 months.
All right.
I was just, mate, 3-4 months. I was just like, that really hurt.
You're gonna get straight back into it.
I developed that pretty quickly, I won't lie. But that was like I was quite sore. It was like one of those things I was like, I don't know if I can try again because of how hard I smacked my tailbone. We didn't ride for too much longer after that.
You rode out the saddle the rest of the day, I'd imagine.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, like from there is pretty much all downhill. But yeah, look, good point. I do think it's important, if you can pick yourself up if this crash is not too serious, to try and do it.
Go and do it again
straight away. Do it again.
Yeah. Especially if it's something that you like. I mean, if we talk about that sort of log ride off that I didn't make it to the end and fell off the side, I had a look. I've hit that log ride over 100 times, and it's the first time.
Oh, is it the log jump on Combi?
Yeah, I didn't even make it to the end, man. I got about 3/4 down, and then next thing the bike's off to the side, and I'm just sort of sliding into a tree. But yeah, didn't really know what happened. But yeah, so you just pedal back up and you go again. I think if it's a feature you haven't hit before, it doesn't go well, you may not just roll up and hit it again. But it's something you've done before. You've got to, otherwise it just sits in the back of your mind. You just got to go and tick it off and get it done.
Now I was filming some stuff when Leah took him on as an athlete earlier in the year, and just taking some videos and that down at the dirt jumps, and I had my bike out there too, and we were working on some stuff, and I just got a bit squiddy coming off a landing, and I was going to ride it out, and I just taken my feet off, like I pretty much lost the pedals, but I just landed like sitting on the seat, and I was going to ride it out, but the second like I got my head up, his bike was right there, so I had to just chuck my bike and bail. So I was like, I'm not going to try and jump his bike or ride over it. And I crashed. And he's just like, and the second I got up, he's like, go do it again now.
That's it. It's a secret.
And I was like, oh, no, bro, I'm good. He's like, no, go do it again now. And he actually got like proper stuck into me because I was, no word of a lie, I was having a fat sook. Like I was being I was sooking it hard. He's just like, and he goes, even before you come here, this double was playing on your mindset because you told me that you didn't mind not riding because he had a lot of work to do, like while we were there. And he's like, you're going to go and do this now, and if you crash again, you're going to do it again. And at the time, I was like, damn, man, like
everyone needs that friend.
But when I went up and did it, I was like, I turned on like the bit of the ag. I was like, nah, I said some cuss words at myself and I slammed it. And then I went back up. He's like, bro, that was awesome. I was like, shut up, I got to do it again. And I just went straight back to the top and I did it a third. I think even a second and a third time. And it was that moment alone, I cannot tell you how much worth I took from it mentally. Like,
nice.
I cannot tell you how much to work. You know, it was a dark place because I was pissed that I had crashed. I was frustrated myself because it was something that I had done like a bazillion times before. And I was just going to leave it at that. And I was just like, why? Because you know what you need to do to finish it. go and finish it. Like, go and get it done. And I actually found like a little bit of a mindset that works for me in those situations as well, that I can flick on and off. The tough times teach you stuff, eh?
Yeah, you don't. I think that's where you learn everything about yourself. It's when you're, when you're backed into a corner or when things aren't going well. That's when you learn all the good, the bad, and the different.
Very much so.
Mm.
I'm having an epiphany right now. I will message
No.
you later about. No, I'm just
Is
having
that-
like
I can see these little bubbles coming off.
Yeah. I'm actually learning so much in this time of my life. It's cool. Oh, it's so weird how this is one of the reasons why I love like the idea of a podcast. You sit down, you talk with people, and even while you're talking, you can learn stuff.
There's well, I mean, you get someone else's opinion on it. People see things differently. They come at them in a different way, and
Yeah.
it just connects other pieces of the puzzle you already have.
Yeah, 100% it does. Like this is why bikes are so cool. Riding bikes is so cool. This community of people. Yes, there's an element of danger to it, but so many people, no matter what walk of life it is, no matter who you are, like you can get on a bike and have fun, and you can be in a space where you can grow yourself as a person, you can acquire skill, you can acquire fitness. And since I've been back on the bike over the past year and a bit, I have learnt so much about myself mentally that I didn't think I knew I needed to, or knew that I had to learn in order to move forward. And not just on bikes. Like I've talked life stuff with people that are going through some rough things, or other people that have got injuries and this and that, and they've shared their thoughts with me, and I've learned something from that. This sport actually brings out so much good stuff, and not just community, not just companionship. Like one of the things we spoke about earlier on is like the mental health aspect behind riding, and how it is one of the only things that I do other than lifting, like when I have like a hard out session in the gym, where I don't think about anything but that moment.
Yeah, I can 100% resonate with that. Like it's I try and get out of an afternoon after work, and it's only an hour and a half ride or something like that. But the same thing, it's your phone doesn't ring. Well, I actually don't carry my phone, which is a really bad idea. Don't take that advice, anybody. But I leave my phone in the car because I don't want to be contacted. I don't want messages or emails or calls. And
Yeah.
you get an hour and a half away from everything, just in your own little world, and you get to process whatever you need to deal with, and just get away from everything. It's awesome. It's not too many other sports you can do that.
I agree with that. I think there's something about, ever since I was a little kid, I had an affinity with being out in the bush. Like I love building tree houses. I'd love, bushwalks, mountains, stuff like that. Being able to move through the bush the way you do on a bike, pretty special. Like what these things can do.
You can cover some ground. You can do some pretty cool exploring and find your way to some pretty awesome places. That's for sure. Actually, we tagged on a little while ago. Rod and I did a ride with some mates, and we rode from Sanford to the car park there at Ironbark, out up over Glorious, and out to the rail trail at I think Fernvale, then over to Ipswich, and then we caught the train back. But man, we found like some trails and some roads that you'd never even know existed. It was such an awesome adventure, man.
Oh, man, I can't wait. Now that I've got a bike that can do some decent pedaling. Look, I'm not going to be that guy saying 27.5s can't pedal, but like a Merida, Meridas are known for bikes that can pedal. Like, and as much as it is an enduro bike, it's something that I'm going to be able to put some Ks down on too, which is I'm very, very excited about, because I want to do stuff like that.
I've got two 27.5s in my collection of bikes, and they have their place, but they don't cover ground like a 29er.
It is what it is.
No, but they have their place, but they're not the most efficient for covering mass Ks, that's for sure.
No, they're definitely not. Oh man, I can't wait to get back on this thing. Holy, I
How
literally
long?
still probably another 2-3 months. It is what it is. But like what we were saying before about when you go through times in your life, and I had that epiphany, and we learn things. This time of my life, while I've got the time away from the bike, I am very much learning a lot of stuff. And it's making me love the sport even more because of what it gives back to me as a person and what it gives to other people. You know, you told me stories about like, you know, friends, you know, acquaintance, people we know, friends of ours that have lost massive amounts of weight, turned their lives around. You know, like really, it is such a freaking, oh man, I'm just having a major froth moment about mountain biking. It's good, but this is why, you know, this is why we ride bikes, man. Like, because everybody gets what they need from it.
Yeah, it's a non-judgmental space, right? If you hit the jump, if you don't hit the jump, if you ride down the trail or you walk up it, I mean, nobody cares, right? Everyone's out there for their own reasons, but nobody cares if you hit the double. It's only you that's concerned about it. I think that's a really big part of mountain biking. I think that's what differentiates mountain biking from a lot of other sports. It's what differentiates it from road cycling. Is it's not about competing always with somebody else, but competing with yourself more than anything.
Very much so. Very much so. The mental game is, man, is wild. It's like when I the day I snapped the Siskiyou, I had a huge crash. I don't know how I didn't come away from that with more than what I did. I literally just had a scratch on my arm, and like I got to the bottom of the trail, and he's just like, "Oh, you've got some foliage in like the chin guard." Oh, there's actually stuff in my beard as well, hanging out the bottom of the helmet. You know, I missed a pop, got bucked, overshot a double, must have gone about 25 feet through the air, almost rode it out, and then this little root, this open root section from where like a tree root had grown like into the embankment, snapped my front wheel. I just threw the bike, rolled, bike caught up with me and hit me, and then they're like, "You all right?" And I'm like, "Yep." I'm like, "What else am I going to do?" Like, so I feel like I would have known if something was wrong straight away, and then we just went away on our way. We just kept going.
So you know it was broken at that time, or you didn't find out till later?
In the video, I'm probably 2 or 3 videos away. I almost finished a Daisy video, but in the video, I was like, something's wrong. And I just kept riding.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
This sounds bad when people know I have like 2 kids at home and all the responsibilities that I have. But I mean, you kind of like signed the dotted line when you went there in the first place, because you don't have to do a massive jump to hurt yourself.
God no, I did it today on about half a meter log, like it was tiny. It was almost embarrassing. I probably could have hurt myself as bad unloading the bike from the car.
Yeah, I know. It's wild, right? But yeah, the bike sounded. I was like, yeah, I'll have to find the clip. It's actually quite funny. I was at a crash, I roll, someone goes, Logan and Chris were like down the trail. They were hooking, and I was just trying to keep up with them, but I didn't think about how much pace we had to go because they both blew out their rear hubs the same day. So they're running chainless, and they were just booting, and I was just trying to keep up with them, and was way quicker than I needed to be going. Anyway, so my mistake, whatever. But yeah, when I got up, I was like, "Oh, something's broken." Hit the next table. Like, I'm in the berm, and it had a creek before then, but I was like, man, something's not right. And then I snapped it in a catch berm, like clean from the thing. And I just before we went down Mini Mega again, we were gonna hit drop or not, and Logan washed his front wheel in the berm, like it didn't come off, but he lost all the speed, and I was fully committed. I was 100% about to send myself off this thing. If he had have gone off,
He would have as well.
100% would have as well. I was like, he's like, are you ready? And I took myself to that spot where I took myself when I needed to do the 2 jumps at the local, and I was in the zone. If he had gone off and that bike snapped, it could have been a very different story.
Yeah, I'm assuming a broken frame's not going to hold up well to a drop.
No, and it's a big drop. Like,
Where's drop or not? Is that the one after the pallet drop?
Yeah, so you got pallet drop. Or you got Robbo's pallet drop. Left-hander. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
That'll do your biking surely.
Wild. So wild. On that, it's funny. People quite often ask me, and I don't know like what your trainer thinking is around like, you know, safety, and obviously I know like he's like, people ask me, don't you think about your kids? And I'm like, why would I want to think about my kids while I'm pinning down a hill at 40 k's an hour? I need to focus. Bro, if I thought about my kids, I wouldn't have left the house beforehand. Like, we all need to have our own little spaces in our lives for us to decompress and enjoy things. Yes, there's an element of danger. Yes, if you want to do big jumps, it's going to get more risky. But, bro, you went and got on the M1 in peak traffic today. Like, you know, it just, those types of questions.
I mean, I think it's I think there's, you know, you got to take into consideration there's quite a few different, you know, personality types. There's people that are overly conservative. There's people that are completely the other way, to disregard everything. But I think for the most part, people, you know, I know roughly where my limitations are, and I ride 5-10% inside of that, and shit still goes wrong. Like I had a stack today for the first time in God knows how long, but you know, those crashes are bumps and bruises. They're not break your leg stuff. I think when that sort of stuff happens, it's when you go well past your capability. You've been watching stuff on YouTube and think you can send it just as big. And so I think for the most part, you know, most people understand what they're capable of and ride within that. It's
exactly.
It's no different than any other sport. It doesn't matter what I mean, sure, there's sports that are probably safer, like chess, but that's boring as hell. You know, there's risk with everything you do, man.
That's it. Oh, look, it totally is. And I will be the first to admit that I was pushing quite hard that day, but I wasn't doing anything that I couldn't do. I made a mistake at the worst possible time.
It happens. But you walked without bumps and bruises because it wasn't. You weren't sending a 60-foot gap. You were hitting a double that was within reach. You just had a moment.
Yeah, I had a moment. Oh, the video is so funny. I'm gonna have to find the clip when I like trying to find the pedal after I dust half a gum tree off me, and then the first crank I take, it's like I was like, come on.
Remember on my first run to Boomers, Rod and I went out there. He might took a week off, and we went and camped down towards the Gold Coast somewhere, and we went and rode somewhere every day. We did like Corralban, and we did Narang, and you know, Boomers, and a whole heap of places. And first ride at Boomers, we went up the pallet drop, and I literally landed and broke my pedal out of the crank, like literally just clean broke it out of the crank.
What?
And
holy!
Ripped it clean out, and so I was in front. Rod overtakes me, and I get to the bottom. He's like, "Oh, what happened to you?" I'm like, "I'm a little broken, man." And he's like, "Oh, well, I still won." Takes the win.
Of course he would let you know. And like Dan and I have. Oh, look, he probably doesn't see it like that, but he knows that I hate it when he does something that I don't want to do, or no, I can do, but I'm in an own. Pignuts has no fear. I'm assuming that he has none, even though we all do. I'm just, for my own personal flipping sanity. He's nuts, man. And he'd be like, yeah, you can try it now. And I was like, well, I have to.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Like, I have to now. I have to try it because you did it. Because otherwise, when we go to work on Monday, you're going to say something like Rod did and be like, you won. Oh. He's like, but at least I can say I tried. But look, that's another space. That's another space where we can learn stuff about ourselves. Sometimes, yes, we should ride below capacity, not push past that 100% all the time. But I also think, I was having this conversation with Johnny the other day, I think there's a time when the Band-Aid needs to be ripped off a little bit when you want to learn something.
Everything in life's about going out of your comfort zone. It's just picking the time to do it.
Correct. Like, you have to take a risk sometime. Like the bike that I snapped my trail, the trail that I snapped my bike on is actually pretty. When I look at it, I'm like, this is pretty gnarly. People are like, oh, it's super fun. I'm like, yeah, it's super fun. But the way that I read trails sometimes, the way that my brain takes in like all the little bits and pieces, I'm like, this is really technical. And I was really struggling on, but I was like, I wanted to try it. And someone asked me the other day, oh, what goals do you have when you start riding again? And I'm like, the only thing I could think of other than like cornering, I want to better my cornering and bike control, because I know that'll help everything, is I want to get top to bottom on that trail that I snapped my bike on. The only other thing I could think about.
So what's left then? Just the last drop, and then it's through to some doubles down the bottom half, isn't it?
This I'm talking about. I've snapped it on Balzac, that new DH trail. I'm still going to do a few of the features on Mini Mega, but that'll come in time. But like, Balzac is like super steep off camber. It's really, really loose in parts. My physio the other day said, "What's this scar? Is it like, have you had surgery on your hamstring before?" And I told you I ripped the pants. There was no sharp rocks anywhere, and then I looked down after I fell off my bike, pushing it down, like fell down, like trying to get back on it, and there was like a rock shaped like an arrow, and it just
you put your ass on it,
and literally cut me from just above a tattoo I have all the way up to under my glue. And I looked at the scar the other day, and it's probably about 4 mil thick top to bottom.
Yeah, right. That's a good effort.
Pretty hectic. And all I could think about was like, I need to get, because I couldn't walk my bike back out. I was too far in, and it would have been too hard to walk a broken bike that wasn't rolling back up that steep. I've got to get that monkey off my back. I have to finish that trail, as much as I hate the thought of doing it.
Let's go down with some mates and follow them in, and just each time take a new feature on.
Oh yeah, it'll be something like that. Like, it's pretty gnarly, but man, the mental game from MTB is probably one of the best parts about it. It is most definitely how much you can learn. Hang on a second, these kids. Give me 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Righto. Man, what's next for you ride wise? What do you want to achieve on the bike this year? Have you got any races planned? What are you looking at?
I'm actually off. No racing this season. This year's all about finishing uni, really. So that's taken over just about all my riding time, unfortunately. So I'll be off this year. Next year I'll be back into training heavily, and then want to start doing some stage races. So Rod and I had originally, what sort of kicked all this off, we signed up to do the Port to Port, which is like a 5-day stage race on a mountain bike essentially, and it ended up getting cancelled during COVID. But so it'll be take off and do those. There's three of those around Australia that they run each year. So that'll probably be the first things to kick off once I get back into race mode, I guess.
What is the stage to, like, can you explain the format? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so you obviously have a start and finish line each day, and it's a different place. No different to, say, the Tour de France, right? Like, obviously much smaller, but a typical day is 50 to 80k, 1,000 to 2,000 meters of climbing. It's everything from fire roads to single track, and you just run one point to the next. You stay there overnight, and you get up and you go from there to the next point. Yeah, you do it for, depending on the race, 4 or 5 days straight, and yeah, and you're done.
How does that work logistically with you start at a particular point and then obviously you ride to a point? Is there someone, do you have to get someone to drop you at a start point and then you get picked up? Like, how does that work?
Depends on the event. So sometimes either you can park there and then they'll bus you back at the end. It depends on the event to how they run it all, but there's the people running the event always have a way for you either to get your car to the finish line or you back to the start line where your car is. So yeah, it sounds a lot more complex than it is, but there's always a way to make that work.
Yeah, gotcha. Because Johnny had mentioned something of the sort, like doing, picking out a trail and wanting to do like an X amount of Ks and, maybe taking like a, what are they called? Like a backpackable swag so you can like camp at
do some
points
bikepacking. Yeah, a couple of the guys we ride with do a fair bit of that. They do like bikepacking. One of them was riding up the beach the other day on his fat bike. I think him and a mate were doing sort of a couple 100K, and they sort of ride for 4 or 5 hours, camp the night, and then keep riding the next day. There's heaps of places. If you're going to do something like that, something like the rail trail, the Brisbane Valley Rail Trail would be a good one. It's 160K long, but you have to carry swags. There's pubs every 20 or 30K you can stop at and get a room overnight. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. There's plenty of people that do that, and there's events and stuff they run along there.
That's cool.
Yeah,
so much. So this this race, you said port to port. What is it? New South Queensland?
That one's in Newcastle. There's one up in Queensland, up in Cairns, which is the is that coast to coast? Oh no, there's 3 of them. I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, and they're essentially those 3 events are qualifiers for the Cape Epic. So if you haven't heard of the Cape Epic, go do some Googling, it'll blow your mind. So it's run in South Africa, obviously Cape Town. Don't quote me, but it's 12 or 13 days. You're talking 30 odd thousand meters of elevation, 150 kilometers a day. Yeah, it's one of the only UCI. Well, the event's not classified by UCI. That it's past their classification. So it's pretty full on. But if you get bored, go and Google Cape Epic and have a look at a couple of the highlight reels from last year or two. It's pretty awesome. And it's the same sort of format. It's a pairs race. You race as a duo. Yeah, and away you go.
Wow, right. Another thing it makes me think of McAvalanche or like the mountain of Oh man, that would be so much fun. Like, what an experience.
Yeah, just things to do. It's like bucket list stuff, right? It's things to tick off and get amongst.
You'd never forget it. And I guarantee you have a few dark times over that 13 days.
Oh, you'd probably have them daily.
Yeah, legit. 100.
There'd be horrible climbs. There'd be some brutal terrain, but there'd be some amazing moments too. There'd be stuff you'd see you wouldn't otherwise get a chance to. And it's not even, to me, it's not about placing or winning. It's about just the experience of it all. Like how awesome to be able to partake in something that's, you can't actually enter it, so you got to qualify for it. You got to earn your right to get there. It's that in itself's pretty awesome, I reckon.
That is sick. I was watching Jono Jones's stuff of Trans Madeira.
Oh yeah, yep.
Oh, that if I was able to go and do like one, and it had a lot to do. I love that type of riding or the idea of it, but the beauty of that place and that terrain, and like how they can only hold it in 2 parts of the year. They can only have X amount of people, and just like I was like, that sounds friggin' amazing. And like because of the type of person he is, like he's a larrikin, I was like, if I could take a crew of people and go and do something like that, that would be that. Man, I'd do a Cape Epic, but like you and Rod wanting to qualify and go and do a Cape Epic, like that would be. I'm like, I could pack up and go do that.
I think that's it's a few years down the track if it ever happens. But
Yeah.
like I mean, that's there's progression in hitting bigger jumps or cornering faster. There's progression in riding further. There's there's progression to be found everywhere. I don't necessarily think for me progression is all about hitting the biggest jump in front of you, but I go, it would be amazing to be able to punch out 100k 5 days in a row on your mountain bike. Like I go, that's an area of progression.
Oath it is, yeah. And what you get from that physically, mentally, even emotionally, like, that's wouldn't be I mean, for some people, Chris does that friggin' every other day of the week.
Cornflakes.
How have I never heard that yet?
I only picked it up the other day. Mitch, I was riding with Mitch. And I said, "Oh, I'm riding with Confowl on Saturday." And he goes, "Oh yeah, awesome." He goes, "You mean cornflakes?" And I'm like, "How have I never heard that?" And it stuck with me ever since. I'm like, it's a cracking nickname.
I am going to change his nickname in the chat to Cornflakes. Need to be like, who told you that?
I've known Chris for years. We used to play RC cars together. Shit, maybe 15 years ago. It was a lifetime ago. And,
so is that how you, Jeff, and him know each other just through RC stuff?
Yeah. So Jeff's obviously like national champion amongst other things. He's a bit of a god in that sport. So I met Chris and Jeff through that. Used to as a bit of as a hobby or a pastime for a while. Yeah. So there's quite a few of them that sort of have migrated from RC and other, I guess, other sports or other disciplines and found their way over to riding. So yeah.
5. He does. I'm pretty sure he does close to 100k a day. Like, I can't remember the last time I didn't see him tick. Oh, cornflakes. Oh my gosh, it's so good.
He's onto it now.
Huh? Oh no! Oh yeah. I'm actually going to.
I'm actually riding with him tomorrow at Burmers, so I'm sure. I hope you won't have seen it by then, so I'll be in the clear till I see him next time.
Yes, 100%. Sorry, Chris. If I sure he shouldn't be. Oh, nicknames. Here it is. Here we go. Corn. Oh, I could call him Kellogg's.
Oh Jesus, this is spiraling.
100% it's going to spiral. Everyone's getting nicknames now.
Oh, Rod loves the nickname Slippery.
Slippery. That is so weird because when you look at this guy, he looks like pay your bills on time, go to bed at 9. Like,
is that the ex-military thing, you think?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, that I did not know. Is he actually ex-military?
Yeah, ex-Navy. Yep.
Oh, there we go. Well, that explains a lot. But he's still a slippery gypsy. So.
He is a slippery gypsy.
Man, when I saw because he did the 24-hour, and there was a race that he did after that as well. Was it the Norco?
Oh, he did the 3+3 a couple of weeks ago.
Was there something else in between that?
I don't think so. The next one's Noosa in 2 weeks' time. The Noosa in 100k.
Yeah, the Noosa Enduro.
I don't think there's anything between. I don't think so.
I think there's a photo of him from the 3x3, and obviously he's got the Lycra's on, but his mustache, he's full clean. Was it that?
He hasn't got a mustache. Well, I don't think he's got a mustache.
I swear I seen a photo of him with a mo. I could be wrong.
If not, we need to do some photoshopping.
He needs a mustache with a name like Slippery.
I don't think I've ever seen him with a mustache, but I'm sure between us we can do some photoshopping. There'll be someone we know, right?
No doubt if we put our brains together. I'm wondering how long it's going to take before Chris sees that. That's funny.
That's right. I mean, I'll see him tomorrow. I'll be like, I tried to stop him, but you just wouldn't have it.
Oh, you can't no doubt I'm going to get some. No doubt I'm going to get some heinous name and then get annoyed and change it to like hummus or something like that.
And maybe that's what we'll do tomorrow. We'll finish riding and then we'll just spend 20 minutes trying to come up with a nickname for you.
Look, I would be more than happy. I'll be more than happy to accept a terrible nickname from a group of guys like you. I was going to ask you. I had a banger of a question from having a very mad ADD moment, and it is gone because I chased a squirrel on that. See, that's a perfect example of me chasing the squirrel. And being like,
Chasing the bright shiny light to the corner.
Yep. Cornflakes moment. Man, it's been a good chat.
Cheers.
I am happy to call it there. Obviously, we've been trying to bang this together for a while, but if you are watching this, people, that means what was I going to do? The giveaway announced after this? Or would have the giveaway already been announced? The winner? No, post-release of this, you'll find out the Monday after.
He's made the decision.
I've made the decision. Thank you for taking the time. I know, just to give you a picture of how hard this guy works, I should have done this earlier on. He studies. What's your job role again? Like, what is your day thing?
I'm the COO for an engineering company.
Okay, so yep, full-time uni or part-time?
No, part-time.
Part-time, of course. It'd have to be, otherwise you're
dead.
No, yeah, dead. Dead on the log. So yeah, part-time uni, COO of an engineering company, runs a small business, and the whole time makes time for others to help them. Shannon helped me massively in sorting out my bike and getting everything the way that I had pictured, and how it took forever for us to get there, but we got there. And he still manages with everything that he does to make time for people and help them. And I'm very thankful for that. I hope more people get to experience your kindness. And I think if you keep up doing what you're doing, that pretty much whatever you touch, so to speak, is going to turn to gold. So thank you for your time, bro. I very, very much appreciate it.
Cheers, man. I really appreciate it. It's been good fun.
It has been good fun. I can't wait to see where this group chat goes now.
There might have to be some post editing of some screenshots going up of all the nicknames flying through.
Maybe.
You know what happens? One person changes the nickname, and everybody jumps in.
Yeah. It's gonna get interesting. Anyway, guys, that was episode 4. Thank you, Shannon, for jumping on, Mr. AMS himself. I will leave a link in the description if you want to get yourself a fat discount. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's in the link of every other episode as well. Oh,
is this where you plug Johnny's code instead of yours?
No, that would be dirty dogging it. No, you can't do that. If you do want anything, the code is down below, but it is also hummus_power10. Check it out. But I will also make a note, everybody who is listening, that we will now have, from this episode, all episodes are up on Spotify. We've got up to episode 8 actually recorded now, and we are going to be pretty much full steam ahead. So once again, Shannon, thank you. Episode 4 is done. All right, guys.
Awesome.
Hope you enjoyed it. Cheers.
The Fully Pinned Podcast.